Morning, everyone. It's the 26th of December today, and it's going to be our next video. So I'm obviously going to carry on again with the timing of God. But before I do the video, I just want to show you how beautiful it is out here. That's obviously Komiki Slankop Lighthouse. I'm going towards Komiki that side. That's the camping site, Sudwater. It's beautiful, and it's just this never-ending, beautiful coastline. All you hear is the birds and the little bugs, and just that sound of that ocean it's mind-boggling. It's so beautiful to experience God here, and this whole stretch is so amazing. So I want to carry on with yesterday's, what I was talking about, timing. And I actually heard something the one day at the Southside Church, which is in Sun Valley, which was so amazing to me about waiting. This one lady, I think it's the second time I've been there, and this one lady actually spoke about it. And it was when Jesus was still with us, and he had the disciples, and it talks about when he went to go and he was sleeping. And it even emphasizes that Jesus was sleeping on a pillow. That just shows that he wasn't just sitting somewhere sleeping. He was sleeping solid. And obviously the waves and the wind came up, and the disciples ran to him and said, Jesus, 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 don't you care about us? We're all going to drown. And he got up and he rebuked the wind and he rebuked the waves, and everything went calm again, and he went back to sleep. And that to me is like, yo, I sometimes think, wouldn't I behave better? You know what? The disciples saw all this amazing miracles with God, and yet they still ceased to believe. They still didn't have faith. So in many ways that makes me feel a little bit better, because we all get challenges and things we need to go through, and we gotta practice our faith. I tend to say, oh, if I was there with the disciples, I wouldn't have, you know. But the point I want to make is about the timing and the waiting. You know, I believe it says that Jesus was sleeping on a pillow. Jesus would have woke up at the exact right time to rebuke the winds and the storm. He would have never let them drown, or the boats be tipped over, and have to swim out in the cold water, or whatever. It's amazing how they got involved. And yes, they did get involved, and they were saved. But I do believe that it was a test to them. You know what? They didn't pass that test. And so many of us don't. And I believe it's probably the hardest thing to do in life is just to sit and wait for God. Because we are so programmed to do our own thing to get it done. And I believe if you pray to God and you pray to God and you pray to God, God will give you an answer. God will get you out there. And you know what? Sometimes it might seem bad. But how many times have we seen that, you know what, many years back when that happened to me, I actually understand it was a bad thing, but it actually turned out to be one of the best things in my life. And sometimes things might take many years. There's a big mystery to God. We're not always going to understand everything. But timing is crucial, and I know I'm probably speaking about it now because I'm sitting in a season of timing. And I started letting all my smaller things go over to God, and I'm actually amazed at many times that I've actually sat back and He just handles things. And at the same time, there's just so many things that I hand over to Him that just don't get sorted out. And the reality is, I need to accept the mystery and understand that God will sort those things out at the right time. I don't want to be that disciple jumping up there, Jesus, Jesus, please help us, we're all going to drown. It's just about timing. And you know what I love about the Bible? It shows that even though these people were with Jesus, and some of these people experienced God, like Moses and Aaron, and all these people, I can even go back right to the beginning, which I love sometimes. You go back to the Garden of Eden. Adam and Eve experienced God in a way that we don't. And sometimes makes you jealous, like, yo, why wasn't I there? And even Eve disobeyed God, you know. And that brings me to this holier of thou about Christians. Christians, we're not meant to be like that. You know, I grew up as a child in a certain church, feeling not worthy, looking at the pastors and saying, wow, yes, I can never be like that. And when you try to be like that in 6 months or 7 months of being totally perfect, you fail. You just spin out of control and you run away from religion and church and you just say, I'm bad, I just can't do it. And that's not the truth. Even the people in the Bible, everywhere, if you really read it and really look at it, they made a lot of mistakes. So don't you feel bad when you make mistakes. As Christians, we grow and we will never stop growing. I've been a reborn Christian for about 4 or 5 years, and I am totally different to what I was last year. I am totally different to what I was in my first year. Sometimes I want to look back in my first year and I just want to cover my head and say, oh my word, was that me? Um, and probably watching these videos in 5 years' time, I'll probably put my hands on my head and say, oh my word, is that what I said? Is those the mistakes I made? But you know what? Nobody's perfect. And that's what I love about the Southside Church in Sun Valley. The first thing I noticed that when I walked in, I saw a guy with a whole sleeve of tattoos. Ironically, to figure out that he was the head pastor and ran the church, and it was actually great to see, because in my previous church I was ridiculed that I actually ran the church, or a division of the church, and I was sort of put down a lot because of I was my whole arm tattooed. And that sort of knocks you off guard, and you shouldn't expect that from the people coming in your church. And it's wonderful to walk into a church where you see a guy that's fully tattooed. We were in school together, ironically. We're the exact same age, and one of the messages that he loves to get through is that we are perfect in our imperfectness. And I want to encourage you to understand that even though you're sinning, even though you're making a mistake, it's fine. There is a time coming. You will continue to grow. Don't live in this illusion that the day you get baptized or the day you hand yourself over to God, you're perfect. I went through that, and you make so many mistakes and it rattles you. You need to understand it is okay to make mistakes. It is okay to make, or for emotions. You know what? It took me a long time when I was reborn Christian. Why are you still getting angry? Why are you still getting sad? These are emotions that God has put into us. You cannot delete them and become a robot. But there are ways to handle it. It is okay to get angry. You don't need to scream and shout and be violent or have mood swings or an attitude. It's okay to get angry, but you can still handle it the way God made. It is okay to be sad. There are ways to handle it. And in time, you will learn these. And not always perfect. I used to be very aggressive and have a very bad temper. And I'm so blessed that it hasn't, I haven't lost my temper in many, many, many years. And I love it. And I love feeling happy and joyous. But there are times that people do make my blood boil. And if you ask people that know me now, they wouldn't actually say it, because I've learned how to handle it. And it took me nearly 35 years, and it took me over a 5 year period, and I'm still learning. Here and there I might get cross, but it's in small piece in comparison of what it used to be. And it's all got to do with timing. Jesus and God will react at the right time. You gotta believe, you gotta trust in God and do good, and you just gotta believe in everything that it says in the Bible. And everywhere in the Bible it says God will not leave you, God will prosper you, God will stand next to you. It is our perspective of how we see what God is doing. We see something's not going our way, and we lose discouragement, and everything that we've built up just shatters down, and we become this old person again. We got to understand that maybe that decision that God has made is not for us on our path. Maybe it's going to lead to something wrong. And you know what? I'm starting to become content with that, and understanding that everything that God does, good or bad, is working in my favor. And I'll use an example. I had a very bad childhood. I grew up doing a lot of things that I shouldn't do. Didn't have a father, didn't have this, didn't, I could write a whole long list of spilt milk for you. But everything that happened in the past has brought me to where I am now, and I'm loving it. I'm loving the person that I have become, because I know from my experiences I can help other people. I can write a book. I can make these videos. When people come to me, young guys come to me about advice, you know what the worst thing is? As an entrepreneur, you will never take business advice from someone that has never owned a business, or someone that's business has collapsed. You will take, or you might take from someone whose business has collapsed. You'll take the advice from him, but you want to take advice from somebody that has built something from nothing as an entrepreneur and become so successful, like the owners of Mr. Price. Brilliant story. The same as people want help, they want to relate. You know what I love about, I always said I'll be totally tattooed and I'll be lived this life and that. So when guys come to me, I can relate to them. I've been through their thing. I don't believe a guy like Joel Austin, and I love him to bits. He's one of the best guys ever in this world. But he grew up a pastor's child, and he is a pastor, and his son will grow, and there's a place for them in the world, a big place, because they will relate to those type of people. But us broken people that were broken can relate.